everybody. Dr. Carmen Bryant, Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and this is my program, Redefining Yourself, a program that was developed for women that are thinking of leaving or have left and are recovering from domestic violence. My particular topic of interest is narcissist abuse recovery, so overcoming narcissist abuse. Even though this program is developed for women, I do always say on all my videos that men go through the same thing that women go through. They may go through it a little different than women go through, but they go through the same thing that women go through. Narcissist is a narcissist, male, female, heterosexual, bisexual, lesbian, homosexual, it doesn't matter. A narcissist does not have boundaries. They will cross boundaries. So a heterosexual narcissist will cross boundaries and become homosexual or lesbian just for the purpose of getting a supply, just for getting some fuel that they want or that they need. However, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care about race, religion. It doesn't care. When I say it, I'm talking about the diagnosis narcissistic personality disorder. It doesn't care about race, nationality, religion, origin. It doesn't matter. Narcissist is narcissist, and they abuse, and they all have similar traits. And so if you've been watching these videos, you have been picking up or you have been learning some things that narcissists do. So first, allow me to say thank you for each and every one of you that joined me on Sunday, came and talked to me. Some of you missed it. I did come on a little earlier. I made it back to where I could record a little earlier. So I usually tell people between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific time. I am in Washington State. I am on the West Coast. So I am 3 hours ahead of the East Coast. I know I'm 4 hours ahead. I think Nova Scotia is 4 hours ahead of me, which is Washington State, and I'm in New York, so East Coast is 3 hours ahead of Washington State. And then you have Germany, hello, Holland. What was the other one? Oi, Brazil. I don't know how many hours ahead you are. Hello to Nova Scotia. Hello to UK. Thank you guys for coming and joining me. And those of you that joined me on Sunday, male and female alike. Males, thank you. All you men, all you kings, thank you for your input and also educating us women on what you've been through in your process or even coming out of a narcissistic relationship. Thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts, your experiences, your opinions, and talking to me. For those of you that have not and are new to this channel, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you that you found something that I had to say that was relevant to maybe your situation or, something that you've experienced. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I hope that you find what you're looking for. Please ask me any question you'd like to. Many people talk to me through YouTube. You email me, Dr. Carmen Bryant, DrCarmenBryant @outlook.com. And if you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, and hit the bell so you know whenever I post new videos, and you'll also know whenever I go live. I also have a professional Facebook page, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Please hit the like button so I upload on both. And a lot of times when I travel, I may not only be able to come on YouTube, but I usually repost and put it over on Facebook. So join me. Thank you guys so much. Just to let you guys know of the progress, I am creating my coaching program. I'm putting together classes. I'm putting together workbooks. I am putting together hopefully magazines. I'm working with my partner, my business partner, and putting together magazines. I'm working now with a publisher to do the finishing parts of my book so I can get the book published. So I'm putting together the format of the coaching program, and I will keep you guys abreast. For those of you that want coaching, for those of you that may want group coaching, for support, for those of you that may want to take some of the teaching courses that I will be offering, on narcissist abuse and the workbooks that go along with it, or the manuals, the ebooks that go along with it. So I am working on that, and thank you guys so much for your support. My partner is working on my radio program, so I will let you know when that launches so that you guys can call in and talk to me. Thank you guys for all your support. I really appreciate it. So today the topic is, and I wasn't able to come on earlier. Normally I record a little earlier so you guys have the video for the day, but whenever I have a full schedule, I can't come on during the day. But I wanted to go on one of the topics. Let me look and make sure I have all the topics written down that was asked of me so that I can cross off. As I go, I cross off what I talk about. So we have that there. So today's topic I was asked to talk about was narcissistic rage. So before I go into narcissistic rage, let me just say a few things and then we'll go into it. So first of all, we all have human emotions, and I know as soon as I said that, some of you started thinking, except the narcissist doesn't have human emotions. The narcissist is still a human being, and they have emotions. They have rage, they have jealousy, they have anger. They're anxious, they're depressed, so they do have emotions. It's just that the empathy and the compassion part in their brain has been damaged, as dysfunction. That's why they have a dysfunction in their personality and character flaws, which is called narcissistic personality disorder. That's what it is. It's a character and personality flaw because of the fact that they have been damaged. They have been wounded somewhere, and that is a result of, the personality has turned on itself. Sorry, trying to get myself comfortable here, you guys. So they do have emotions. However, what I was saying is that human beings have emotion. We're happy, we're sad, joyful. We have a range of emotions. And so we do get angry. Anger is a human emotion. It is a normal emotion that human beings have. And most people that get angry, once they calm down, they can verbalize anger. So we've said that. So you guys keep that in mind, because we're going to come back to that. The next thing is when you're dealing with a bully. Normally when you're dealing with a bully, or when you're dealing with a person that's very aggressive, whenever you approach them about some truth and they want to get you off of them, or if they want to scare you, they may fly into a rage, they may talk in circles, and usually, and what do most people do? Oh, I don't even want to be bothered with this, because they know that if they can scare you, if they can fly into a rage, if they can argue with you, very argumentative, very irritable, usually most people will stay away. So if they lie and you catch them in a lie, or if you confront them or you hold them accountable to something, they usually will fly into a rage. Because why? To get you away from them. To get you away from them, to make you stop asking, and it is a tool, is a weapon used to move you back, to get you away. So having said that, let me say this. So as I was doing my research and reading on what people have written, and I came across, and I think this is I think this is the coach that we all talk about all the time. Let me make sure I look. Okay, it's not here. Okay, so I was trying to find the author. Okay, but if you go to the Narcissistic Life, and this is, they were talking about, the webpage is the Narcissistic Life, and the article was talking about the 7 stages of anger, or what is narcissistic rage. And so I just wanted to read a few things in here, okay? And so first of all, allow me to say that narcissistic, let me see who the author is. It doesn't have the author on here. But it does say in here, narcissistic rage is a term coined by Hens Kohut in his book, The Analysis of the Self, when it was first published in 1972. So first of all, let's give us the right credit, okay? It occurs when the narcissist perceives he or she is being personally attacked by someone else. Grandiose self-worth, vanity, and entitlement are basic characteristics of narcissistic personality disorder. When these are challenged, it often leads to narcissistic rage. Narcissistic rage is a reaction to a narcissistic injury, a perceived threat to the self-worth or the self-esteem. Their rage can be of 2 types, explosive or passive-aggressive. The passive-aggressive one is where they give you the silent treatment, they pout, they walk around moping in order to get a response from you. The explosive rage is just like it sounds, explosive, volatile outburst, maybe verbal, physical, or both. And a lot of times you'll find that, because remember, a lot of times they cannot self-regulate their emotions, and you'll find it with the lower or mid narcissists. Those are the ones that usually cannot control their anger, and they usually have outbursts of rage, and this is where you find a lot of the physical abuse. And as they move up the spectrum of narcissism, and the greater to the elite to a greater narcissism, they have a little more control. But if you cause a narcissistic injury, be aware, they never forget and they never forgive. Okay, so we remember that. So let's look. Let me scroll down a little more. So remember that a narcissist needs constant admiration, attention, and compliments. They live a life of illusion. We've talked about that before. They live with the illusion that they are perfectionists and that people are supposed to revere them, respect them, fear them out of reverential fear, and basically worship them. That makes them dependent on other people to keep their self-esteem high. Remember, I talked about that. They're unable to self-regulate, so they depend on other people to keep their self-esteem high, to continue to give them admiration, to give them compliments, and to do as they say. So if any of that is challenged, even mildly, a negative remark, a disagreement from another person, that's considered criticism, rejection, and even mockery. They can't handle that. They can't self-regulate. They're not capable. We process like, oh, maybe they were just joking about that, or, maybe that was just constructive criticism. They don't immediately jump into a narcissistic injury. And so that they'll take it as a personal assault or betrayal, and then they'll lash out to whoever provoked them. Narcissist rage often results in physical or emotional abuse. Remember, I said that low to mid narcissists, normally that is the group, the low to mid range. They're unable to control their rage. These are the ones that usually find they're batterers. They're abusive, physically abusive to the children, to the loved ones. Those are the ones that you'll find in that range. So here are some causes of narcissistic rage. So number one, if you challenge their confidence. So people with narcissism often place unrealistic demands on their partner or children. So they put the standard up so high that when these demands are not met, they can fly into a rage at any time. So they put these unrealistic expectations of you, and then they fly into this rage. And excuse me, that's why I'm going to do another one, because someone asked me to do this one too, on narcissistic bosses, where they put these unrealistic expectations on you, and when you don't, they have their own thoughts, they already have their own plans, they know that you're never going to achieve it. They're just doing that to see you frustrated or cry or fall apart, but they'll fly into a rage, but they know that the expectations that they put on you are unrealistic. So the same way with family and loved ones, they put these unrealistic demands on the family, and then they so let me go back. These demands frequently challenge These demands are frequently challenged by the person in the relationship. So the other person is going to challenge, like, this is unrealistic. When challenged, the narcissist's brittle egos are unable to accept the idea that they could possibly be wrong and imperfect. Oh my goodness. They turn this into a personal attack and respond with rage toward the person to regain a sense of superiority. So the rage is a tool or a weapon to get that person back in line. And remember, in the other videos I talked about that they will torment you. They will harass you. They will literally like keep you up, sleep deprive you, to force you to agree with what they've said. You've caused a narcissistic injury by disagreeing with them, and they found out that they were wrong about something. So they will use all sorts of tormenting tactics, which is a part of the trauma bonding. Use all sorts of tormenting, sleep deprivation, anything, name calling, physical abuse, to force you to agree with them, even to a point where some people begin to apologize for something that was never their fault. So injury to self-esteem. Number two, injury to self-esteem. When a narcissist's shortcomings are pointed out by someone, they feel an overwhelming sense of shame. So in shame, they'll lash out in rage because they don't know how to handle that shame. It's too overwhelming. That emotion is overwhelming for them. The narcissist lashes out toward the person pointing out the shortcomings. So the rage is executed to seek revenge upon the accuser. The need for revenge results in explosive rage and does not die down until the narcissist feels the person was dealt appropriate punishment, which a lot of times is not that. I had a wife of a narcissist wanted to talk about sexual problems in the bedroom. And the narcissist was a narcissist that was a somatic narcissist who thought he was God's gift to women and was the Casanova and the sexual acrobat of the universe. And the wife was embarrassed, and she didn't really want to hurt, because she didn't know he was a narcissist, but didn't want to hurt his feelings, and just brought up a conversation, that she was disappointed in the sexual life or the intimacy, and she pointed out the shortcomings, that the sex is not as great as he claims it is, and from that point forward he began to torment her. He began to he really made sure he was also having a lot of infidelities as well in the relationship, but he got to a point where he made sure that now his infidelities, she knew about them. He wanted to see her cry, so he was punishing her by making sure she knew about the infidelities. He was punishing her by taking the sex away completely, not talking to her, the silent treatment, just tormenting her, all because she wanted to build a better sex life for the couple. And it was a basic thing that happens in counseling at all times. But he took that and he flew into a rage, and he turned it up. I mean, she was tormented. She was so hurt and broken, all because it was a narcissistic injury, and it was an injury to his self-esteem. But she wasn't disrespectful when she said it. Another thing, false sense of self. The narcissist has a false sense of self. Underlying this false sense of self are feelings that he or she is not lovable for who he or she is, or for what he offers or she offers in relationship. When a lover or a partner begins to feel doubts about the narcissist, that is when the narcissist rage surfaces. So see, when the partner begins to realize, okay, something is not right. I have some doubts about the story that this person has told me. There are things that are not adding up. The narcissist senses that, and they fly into rages because they lose control. So anytime they begin to feel like they're losing control, they're not superior, they don't have the upper hand anymore, you begin to question what they're saying, they fly into a rage to back you off, number one, and to get control back. For you to back down and say, okay, fine, and you begin to apologize, maybe I was wrong in what I was saying, and you were probably right in what you were saying. So let's see here. So let's talk about, this talks about the 7 stages of anger, and it talks about stress. When they begin to have, when people begin to have stress, anxiety, agitation, displeasure is shown without blame, irritation, a little more displeasure to elicit a response, frustration, anger with a scowl or harsh words, anger with the loudness of speech or expression. So those are anger. Those are normal levels of anger. But then rage is losing temper and getting into a rage or aggression. So that explains rage. So there's different levels, the stress building, the anxiety, shows and subtle cues, they're uncomfortable. And this is not excuse me, you guys, I'm sorry, but this is not a narcissist in general. This is people in general. They go through, some anger. The rage part is like losing temper, losing control, and flying into a rage, and there's aggression behind it as well. So let's see. So that is that part. So now let me go to the next one. So of course, Psychology Today, and this is Dr. Mark Goldstein, and he wrote an article. Let's see. And I just wanted to point these out. So here are some characteristic traits of narcissists that, let's look. Hold on, let me go down. His article says, rage coming soon from a narcissist near you. So let's look. So here's some characteristic traits of narcissists. And this also applies to the female. And it includes their control freaks. They're usually very irritable individuals. They have short fuses, so they're very impatient individuals. Low frustration tolerance. They're very argumentative, so you notice they're always arguing about something. It doesn't matter what it is. They hate when people disagree with them. They hate when people do not have the same opinion as they do. So they're very argumentative, and people can get caught up in these arguments because they're trying to explain, okay, I have my opinion, you have your opinion, and me and your opinion, we have to agree to disagree. They don't think like that. If you don't agree with what they're saying, they'll do anything. Like I said, they'll go back to tormenting you, sleep deprivation, anything they can do to force you to agree with them. And so they're very argumentative people about anything. They argue about anything. Rice, the type of rice you cook in the house, they'll be argumentative about that because you don't agree with what they agree, or they just pick something and they're argumentative. They need to have the last word. So these are people that argue, but they got to get the last word in. They've got to get the last word into the argument. You're like, really? You could be 100 years old and you're like, I cannot believe you have to have the last word. Just let's end the argument. And they have to have that last word in. They're unable to lose, so everything is a competition. The argument, the disagreement is a competition. The breakup is a competition, and I'll talk about that later. They won't take no for an answer. If you say no, they will manipulate, they will talk, and some of these narcissists are talkers. They will talk. They will just talk until you just turn blue in the face. Not them, you turn blue in the face. They won't leave you alone. They'll try to torment you, sleep deprivation, following you around, harassing you. They'll do whatever. Even if you live in the home with you, they'll just torment you and antagonize you to force you to change that no. They will not take no for an answer. Even when they stop the next day, they'll come back and they'll still stay on that topic to force you to say. They'll do research, whatever they can do. You know, that's just like researchers. When researchers do research and they find the answer to the thing, it depends on how they present the information. They can present the information as being no, you know, and I'm just using that as an example, or they can present the information as being yes. And so if they want the information to be leaning toward the yes, they'll take out the information to lean more toward a yes, or, you know, positive, or whatever answer that they're looking for. Well, narcissists are like that too. They'll take pieces and parts of information in order to prove you wrong, but they don't give you the whole picture. They don't give you the whole picture of where they got the information from. They'll just give you pieces and parts of information to prove that they are right. So they're unable to lose. They will not take no for an answer. They're quick to get angry if you don't accommodate them, because remember, they're grandiose. They live on this high horse that everyone's supposed to serve them and cater to them. They're quick to be aggressive, defensive if you call them on any deficiency, fault, or responsibility. So if you hold them accountable, be ready. They go on the defense and they are aggressive. They can't apologize, or if they do, they can't do it sincerely. So because they can't be wrong. So to apologize to you is like admitting that they were wrong. So a lot of times when they apologize, it's very superficial. They don't mean what they say. They're not sincere about their apologies. They don't feel or demonstrate remorse. Remember, they don't have compassion or empathy, so they don't have remorse for the things they do. Now, they'll do the great faking, you know, the fake crying and everything. They'll even have these big crocodile tears, and they'll turn it up, you know. They'll do. I've seen it in my office. So. And they're good. They're good. They rarely say thank you or congratulations because they're jealous. So if something good happens for you, you tell them about it, they'll downplay it. Or you never really, it's not a sincere congratulations. You know, you can sense like, oh my gosh, it's like the best thing has ever happened to me, and you can't even be happy with me. They can't. They won't, because they're jealous. You are a competition. That's why they chose you. Don't feel or demonstrate more, said that. Feel entitled to, enthusiastic, and appreciative approval, adoration, agreement, and obedience. So see, they won't give it to you, but they expect it from you. They feel entitled to an enthusiastic and appreciative approval, adoration, agreement, and obedience. But they don't expect that from them to you. They expect you to be like that. And when you bring it up, they'll fly into a rage. They gloat in victory, sullen in defeat, quick to rage if you humiliate them. So, see? So let's see. The next is going back to the thought catalog, and this is the life coach, Miss Shahida Arabi. Really like her. And she talked about here, let me pick out a few things that she said that I really like. Okay, so be prepared for narcissistic rage. Let me find it. So, when the abuser, which is the narcissist, sustains a narcissistic injury, meaning like, for example, if you make a choice to discard them, and you discard them first, you have now threatened their sense of power and control. That's a narcissistic injury. And what ends up as a result is narcissistic rage. And they won't stop. They will not stop. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. So, let's see. So there's a Dr. Sarkis, and they were talking about narcissistic injury. This type of injury and rage manifests in different ways. According to Dr. Sarkis, a narcissistic abuser are likely to do everything possible to win back their victims if they suspect they are on the verge of leaving. So remember, they'll begin love bombing you again, and they'll make it so great. They'll make you feel like they went back to where they originally were when they met you. They'll never go back to their original self because it was an illusion. It wasn't real. So they'll do whatever they can to try to win you back when you make a decision to discard, or if they feel like you're about to discard. That's when you start asking questions. Something's not right. You know, maybe we need to take a break. So Yet this also applies to after the victim leaves as well. To explore what happens when a survivor leaves his or her narcissistic abuser first, however, survivors of narcissist abuse, when they leave first, survivors of narcissist abuse can protect themselves in vulnerable stage of their healing journey. Okay, so let me look. Okay, so when you've caused a narcissistic injury by leaving, be prepared, because these are some of the things that they will do. They will stalk and harass you. Unless they've already had a source of, now it says here, unless they've already had other sources of supply, they were already grooming by the time that you left, chances are that he or she will be left blindsided by your departure. Even if they had another supply and you discard it, they will still stalk you and harass you. They'll still find a way to harass you just because you caused a narcissistic injury. Especially if you planned your departure quietly and safely, a normal partner, so it talks about the normal partner, so we're not going to talk about a normal partner, but the partner will find some way to move forward in their life knowing that they were not the one for, okay, that is the normal partner. So, but an abusive narcissist will fly off the handle when they realize that you up them one. So see, everything is competition to them. You got over on them because you got away. You discarded them before they discarded you. And the way that they looked at it is, if you discarded them, you're breaking up the facade. So people are going to start thinking like something must be wrong with that individual. You're taking off their mask and you're showing people that something may be wrong with this individual. So they didn't have a time to really launch a good smear campaign so they can discard you so that they can look like the hero. Oh, you got away and she was so horrible, or he was so horrible. But if you got away, it breaks up that facade, that illusion that something may be wrong with this individual, and it causes shame and humiliation. And so it is a narcissistic injury. So they're flying into a rage, trying to figure out how to get you back. I mean, how to pay you back. There you go. To get revenge on you. Let's see. And despite the fact that there was obviously severe emotional and physical danger, the narcissist will perceive your escape as abandonment rather than a way to secure your safety and sanity from their psychological violence. They don't see it that way. They're not normal thinking people. Let's see. So what she said here was, abusive relationship with a narcissist rely on idealization, devaluation, discard cycle, which enables the narcissist to degrade their victims and discard their victims without any accountability whatsoever. This cycle confirms the narcissist's distorted sense of being superior to their victims. If the narcissist discards if the victim discards the narcissist first, he or she upsets the power dynamic that bolsters the abuser's desire for power and validation. See, you've disrupted what they have set up and the illusion they have created. You've disrupted all that. You have brought them, they're unkiltered, they're unbalanced. So even leaving for legitimate reason because of physical safety or emotional abuse, it doesn't matter. They look at relationship as a competition. You left them first. It's a competition. You shouldn't have left first. I should have left first. Now I have to get the lies together to figure out what am I going to say to let people know that I'm not at fault, because you're messing with their ego, you're messing with their illusion, their facade that they have created to these other people. So let's see. Let's see. So what happens is people may see you now as the helpless and powerless victim that had to leave, and so it sends them in a tailspin of fury and devastation. They don't know how to recover from that. And so how dare you forge a path to freedom? That's what she was saying. Let's see. Because you ultimately belong to the narcissist. And this is how they think, and this is how they believe. I agree with her on that too. They see their victims as objects to be owned, controlled, mistreated, and used as emotional punching bags, not as independent people or agents with free will. And so let's see. So when you get away, it in their mind is a loss of power that they once held over you. So, and remember, the narcissist, just like she said, the narcissist relies on narcissistic supply. Anything, form of praise, money, gifts, sex, attention, anything to survive their daily experience. They are addicts. that zoom in on vulnerable targets, anyone they perceive to have high degrees of empathy and compassion, and they exploit those targets for all their worth, sucking them dry emotionally, physically, and spiritually. They use their victims as trophy to give themselves access to the victim's resources, status, wealth, the reputation of being with someone attractive or successful, as well as social proof of their normalcy. Remember, I said this in all the videos. I said this in different videos, and she just said it all in one paragraph. So let's see. So remember, devaluation and Jekyll and Hyde hoovering. After a breakup, the character of narcissistic abuser can become disturbingly clear and dangerous. Malignant narcissists will usually attempt to sweet talk you back into the relationship with promises of change. There's false remorse for their misdeeds. They fiend accountability for their actions. Don't believe that. Don't take them back. They may romanticize the relationship and re-idolize you, taking back all their hurtful words and actions in one fell swoop, or a cleverly constructed text message. This is known as hoovering, and it is when, like a hoover, we talked about that hoover vacuum, they try to suck you back. Okay, so let's see. Now, if you go no contact and they're trying to demand meeting up and reconciling or trying to be friends, and you resist any way possible, they will show their true colors. They will revert right back to their true nature, and they'll become vindictive. They'll do the signature Jekyll and Hyde move. They subject you, that they've subjected you to in the relationship. So they'll devalue you. They'll talk about you. They'll name call you, cruel insults, demeaning remarks. They smear you, anything they can possibly do because they couldn't get their way. But you stayed no contact. It doesn't matter. Even when you set boundaries, that right there is an atomic bomb to them. They'll fly into a rage because they'll make it seem like you're hurting me. You're hurting me because you have boundaries. So let's see, post-breakup triangulation. Once the narcissist has secured new supply, they want you to know about it because they're trying to injure you. This is why the no contact journey, and remember I told you, get off their social medias. Do not follow the new supply. Do not look and see what they're doing. It's all a game to hurt you and to make sure that, because they're enraged that you had the nerve to discard them. Or even if they discarded you and you're happy and you're doing well, now they want to punish you. So they're going to show you just how wonderful they're doing with this new supply. It's all a game. It's all an illusion, starting all over again. Remember that. Let's see. Let's look. Let's look. Smear campaign and threats. Remember that. If you discarded the narcissist first without warning, sorry about that. Without warning, they're sure to be desperate to reframe the narrative about you as soon as possible. This is because in breaking up with them first, you unintentionally expose who they really are. And they were well hidden, the well hidden nature of the abusive relationship. And exposure of the one narcissistic exposure is one of the narcissist's greatest fear. Sorry about that. So breaking up with a narcissist threatens their very sense of security because it could potentially rip off their false mask and reveal the true self to their harem members, which is their flying monkeys and their entourage. And so, of course, they've got to immediately launch a smear campaign. It sounds like a political thing, right? They immediately have to launch a smear campaign before any devaluation begins. So they talk to their family, to your family, even publicly to their new supply. They're going to do anything they can to drag your name through the dirt. Stay no contact. Don't fight back. Don't show them emotions, okay? Let's see. So I think that's it for that. So hopefully that helped. Talking about the rage of the narcissist. Now you see, they rage. They use everything that they do, everything that they say serves a purpose. They're almost like little. You ever seen a child have a temper tantrum on the floor? That is a narcissist. That's a child having an adult temper tantrum. That's what they're doing. And so rage, you guys be careful. Be careful when you discard a narcissist. Remember, they'll do anything, and it could be years. They will just harass you. And if you have children with them, they constantly constantly try to hoover you through the children, try to harass you through the children. They try to make sure that the kids get pictures so that you see the pictures, you know, or they give information to the children so that you get the information, so it just hurts you. So your best bet is to go no contact. Do not go on any social media, no contact with them. If you have children, you know, only about the children, that's it, because they'll do anything they possibly can do to hurt you. Try to take you to court, try to smear your name, try to they'll do anything to get you back, because you have caused a narcissistic injury. They never forget, and they never let go. They always will try to come back to haunt you. You know, and when I say haunt you, they always try to find a way. Unless they find a good supply, you know, that really locks them in. You were the one that got away. You were the one that hurt them the most. And if you were a good supply, they're always trying to pay you back for getting away, because you caused a narcissistic injury, and they're miserable because they didn't do. You won. You got one over on them. That's how they think. It's a game to them. So hopefully this has helped you guys, okay? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the video. You know, hopefully this answered the question. I couldn't remember who. I cannot recall. I don't like to say remember. I always say don't recall. Remember means you're like wiping your data bank in your brain. Your brain registers what your mouth says. And so when you say I can't remember, it like wipes the slate clean in your mind. Say I don't recall, because the information is still there, okay? Don't program your mind. That's how my mentor taught me. Don't program your mind any kind of way. Always be very careful, especially being with a narcissist. Be very careful at the words that you speak, even about your own self. So I cannot recall at this time, because the information is there. I just cannot recall it at the time at who sent me the message, who sent me that information to talk about rage. But hopefully this answered your question. Please let me know if this answered your question and gave you some information. Thank you guys for joining me. I have to get out of here. You guys go and be great. Go and not register, but go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the bell. Make sure that you get the chimes whenever I upload new videos, whenever I go live. It's Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, and over on my Facebook page, my professional Facebook page, Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Hit the like button. I upload the videos on both. Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you to all the new followers. As my friend always says, go and be great, and I say, I mean that.